What is going on, everyone? Darkside Phil here. Today is the 23rd of July 2020, and we just finished watching the Microsoft Xbox Games Showcase presentation that happened live at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. That was supposed to be a showcase of the games that are supposed to get you to be excited for the Xbox Series X coming out later this year. Now, we were told ahead of time this was going to be a presentation that was not going to cover the release date of the Xbox Series X, the pricing of the Xbox Series X, although some people did speculate maybe there would still be information about it, similar to how a month ago we had the Sony Game Showcase, which actually ended up having significant information about the PlayStation 5's different models, although even that didn't have a release date or pricing either. It seems like, Microsoft and Sony are waiting it out. They still haven't released any information about pricing or release date yet, okay? But of course, everyone's speculating, and I'm sure we're going to get some information soon. But anyway, the Xbox Game Showcase event was about an hour long, actually just under that. I'd say probably about 45 to 50 minutes long. It covered a lot, all right? And the one thing that I think is the most important thing about this event may not even necessarily have been the fact of the specific games that were presented. As crazy as that sounds, but it's an Xbox Game Showcase, of course it's about the games. But bear with me. Follow this line of reasoning. With Sony's event, they showcased a whole bunch of games that are supposed to get you hyped to buy the PS5. With this event, the running theme was every single game that's being presented is going to be available under Xbox Game Pass. For those who don't know what that is, I guess you've been living under a rock. Game Pass is the ongoing subscription service that Microsoft offers. For $10 a month, you get unlimited access to many different games. All Microsoft first-party exclusives are usually included at launch, as well as a big plethora of other games. I've played a few games under Xbox Game Pass over the last few years as a result of having a gifted subscription from viewers. So, if you have Xbox Game Pass, every single game you saw during this presentation, you're going to be able to play for $10 a month, okay? Compare that to previous console launches where it was like, okay, you're going to invest a ton of money in this console, and now you kind of sit around, you're like, well, I don't really have a ton of money to spend. I just bought the console, maybe you bought an extra controller. What games are you going to buy? Well, man, they're $60 each, man. So now I can only buy like a couple at launch. What they're telling you is just subscribe to Game Pass. You're going to get all these games within like a year under Game Pass, okay? So keep that in mind as we go through all the stuff that was presented, because I really feel that is what they wanted you to think in the back of your head the entire time was you're going to play these games. Doesn't matter if you like them or not. You could still play them if you have Game Pass. See what I mean? Okay. So the first game, which I think we all expected, was Halo Infinite. Now, the weird thing about it was when it booted up, right? It booted up. It looked like you were actually booting like the game on the Xbox Series X console. It actually said press start to play the demo. So I think they're trying to make you feel like this is actually you picking up the controller and playing the game yourself. As for the gameplay of the game, it's pretty typical for Halo. I didn't see anything there that blew me away. Maybe a couple additions. First of all, it looks like the world's going to be open world, at least semi-open world. And what I mean by that is you can look at an open world map and there's waypoints on it, and you can immediately get into a Warthog and start driving around and doing stuff on this map. Is it really truly going to be open world, or will it be scripted where you can only go to certain areas of the map at certain times? I don't know. It wasn't apparent from what they showed, but definitely, it looks like you're going to be able to wander around a bit. There have been Halo games where you could wander around a bit, and then later on things open up, so maybe it's new, maybe it's not. Gameplay elements that looked new. There's a grappling hook that Master Chief has now to grapple to certain areas. He has a new gun that looks like a revolver. I mean, of all the new things to add to Halo, a gun that's like insanely old school is now in the future, a revolver, right? But outside of that, it looked like typical Halo. He's shooting things, he's melee attacking, he's throwing sticky grenades. He's doing the typical things you've seen in every Halo game before, without much exception. Now, there was a weird thing that they said that it's actually like a positive and a negative, because as I'm watching the gameplay of this, I'm thinking, some of the visuals look nice. Like if you look at, open vistas, you can see the lighting effects coming down with everything in the sky, looks nice. But if you're actually looking at like the detail of the characters and the models, it's like, it actually looks less detailed than Halo 5. It actually looks like they scaled back the level of detail on the character models. And then they announced the game will run at full 60 frames per second at 4K resolution on the Xbox Series X, to which I said, now I know why everything looks like it kind of took a step back. They're going for high resolution, high frame rate, but they're sacrificing the level of detail that's going to be in the game. Now, some people already are defending it and saying, oh, it looks like it's a throwback to old school Halo. They're going for the more cartoony approach. And I'm like, listen, Halo has never been a franchise that was blowing you away with graphics. Halo 3, which is lauded as one of the best Halo games of all time, didn't even run at 720p on the Xbox 360 at launch. So, you know what I mean? Like, I guess some people who are graphics hogs are, oh my god, I can't believe they downscaled the graphics. And others will be like, meh, we don't care. We're just going to play it and enjoy it because it's classic Halo gameplay. And in reality, it's kind of what it looked like. It looked like they were trying to go for classic Halo gameplay with a few added elements. One thing that's very apparent is that they are not going for anything from Halo 4 or 5. It looks like they have completely retconned the plot from Halo 4 or 5, which is hilarious because, remember, it was supposed to be a trilogy, just like the original Halo games, and apparently people hated Halo 5 so much. Remember the ending? Oh, Cortana's now the villain, and she has an army. They're like, fuck all that. Now it's a new invading group of enemies called the Banished that are invading, and it's hilarious because at the very end of this gameplay segment, they show the villain, and he looks not very next gen. I mean, he barely looks current gen. Again, not a lot of detail on his face, and it's kind of like, well, I guess, you know, again, as long as you don't really care too much about graphics, maybe this game will be great. Of course, we've heard absolutely nothing about multiplayer at all. This is all just the campaign of the game. So we'll see. Now, I said it's holiday 2020. Obviously, they're doing that because we don't know when the console comes out. It's supposed to be a launch title with the console. At least that's what we're being led to believe. Okay? Fair enough. So that's the first game. Then the next game they show off, it shows a woman in the woods, snowy, and it looks like she's being stalked by animals at night. She screams, the animals run away. She creeps up a crossbow and is walking around and finally finds a deer, and the deer turns its head to reveal it's a zombified deer, and then it says State of Decay 3, and that was it. There was no gameplay at all. It was just a teaser of State of Decay 3. Some people might actually be happy about that. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not. Why? Because I got very hyped for State of Decay 2. State of Decay 1, I felt was a sleeper hit, a game that not many people were expecting much from because no one knew anything about the studio at the time. That was before they were owned by Microsoft. The game ended up being an outstanding summer hit. State of Decay 2 was terrible. State of Decay 2, like, literally took the fun narrative out of the game and just made it an endless, boring grind. It barely did anything to innovate. It was chock full of bugs. The frame rate was terrible. State of Decay 2 was not very good. So State of Decay 3 does not get me hyped at all. Unless there's something to reassure me that they listened to feedback and they've improved this franchise, I'm not excited for State of Decay 3. And we don't know when it's coming out. No release date for that, okay? Then they start talking about how, again, all games are going to be under Xbox Game Pass. So now we know everything in this presentation is available under Game Pass at launch. When these games release, you will play them on launch day if you have Game Pass for no additional cost. Forza, of course, we all knew there was going to be a new Forza game. Forza Motorsport, they're working on it. No release date, not even a name for it, but they are working on a Forza game, okay? Rare is making a new RPG. It is called Everwild. It looks like it's cel-shaded and cartoony. It looks like it's based in a fantasy setting where you're in like a forest or open nature setting, and these characters are using some kind of mysticism or magic to summon abilities to heal creatures that have been damaged. It looks like there's going to be some kind of a spirit animal aspect to the game, but absolutely no information whatsoever on the actual gameplay at all. No gameplay showed, and no release date. Don't Nod, the makers of Life is Strange, as well as a few other games in the past. I don't know if we really want to bring up some of the other ones because they weren't very good. People don't talk about them. I played that vampire game a couple of years ago, and people were not very happy that I did. But anyway, they've made a new narrative-based game that's not Life is Strange. All right? This is going to be called Tell Me Why. And apparently this is a game where in the past there was a woman, who I guess was someone's mother or something, who apparently was going after one of these kids and trying to kill them with a shotgun. Apparently, from what you made out in this trailer, the kid inadvertently, in self-defense, killed the mother. But now all these people are grown up and traumatized at the happenings that happened, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what really happened. Apparently, these people, there's a group of friends, when something emotional happens, they see this weird, like, cutscene that's like a hologram or some shit inside. It's weird. I think they reference it as like they have visions or something like that. Okay? Okay? They have visions. It's not too clear-cut what the game's going to be, but it definitely has Life is Strange vibes. The graphics look like Life is Strange 2's engine. So, we'll see. This game is coming out way early. Like, it comes out August 27th is episode 1, and then I actually looked on Twitter. Episode 2 is the first week of September. Episode 3 is the second week of September. So apparently this game's like almost done. And they're going to be releasing 3 episodes within like a month period. Now, will it be done by the end of the year? I'm going to guess yeah. It seems to me like they've got this shit done and they're just working on finishing it up. But that's pretty crazy that's coming out that quickly. All right. So I guess we're going to see what happens with it. I don't really know too much about it. But a new game from the makers of Life is Strange. That's not Life is Strange. But it is in the narrative style. Okay. Then, the makers of Ori, you know, they made 2 games, 2 Ori. It was Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori, I forget the name of the second one, announced that they're going to remake the series for Xbox Series X with an unprecedented 120 hertz, meaning 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. Okay, I guess. If you really, really like the series, maybe you'll go play it again at 120 frames. But I don't think this is an announcement at all. They didn't announce a new game. They didn't even announce an expansion. It's just the same game running slightly better on the new console. Okay, I guess. The next thing that was announced was actually quite cool. The Outer Worlds, the big hit of late 2018, is getting a DLC. Actually, that 2019 was last year. Is getting a DLC expansion called Peril on Gorgon. It's coming out September 9th. And it doesn't really explain too much. Basically, just says there's going to be new weapons, new narrative. If you liked the Outer Worlds last year, you're probably going to be excited for this. If not, well, it doesn't seem like they're reinventing the wheel or anything. But it is exciting to get a DLC expansion for something that was one of a lot of people's favorite narrative game of 2019. So, alrighty. Continuing. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Did I play Outer Worlds on PlayStation? I played it on PlayStation, I think, right? Okay. The reason it was at the Xbox game showcase is because Obsidian Entertainment, the developer, is owned by Microsoft. FYI. Okay. There's another game being made by Obsidian called Grounded. So this game is supposed to basically be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Anyone ever saw that movie? Or Honey, I Shrunk Myself? Or, you know, there's like 2 or 3 of them in the 1990s starring Rick Moranis. Same premise. These kids got shrunken. They're in a yard. They're trying to survive against a world of bugs and creatures and things that are massively oversized. It's funny because they show a giant Battletoads action figure that's like, you know, crammed in the dirt and the kids are climbing over it and stuff. Apparently, it's a survival co-op game, but it has a story. And they even say you could play it solo if you want, but you could also play it co-op with friends. Seems like an interesting game. If you have a bunch of friends, you want to sit down and try something different. I have no idea how as a game it's going to have longevity. But that's coming out on July 28th. And they say you can actually pre-order it right now under the game preview program. To warn everyone, I know a little bit about game preview because I did this with We Happy Few many years ago. Game preview means you buy the game. All right? The game's not done. And you're not even promised a delivery date on the actual final game, but you pay for the game now, and you get whatever's available now to play. It may just be a tidbit of gameplay. In the case of We Happy Few, there was maybe an hour of stuff to check out, and then it was basically unfinished, and you just had to wait for them to release the full game like 2 years later. And when it came out, it wasn't very good. It ran like complete crap on the Xbox, so you know, you're not guaranteed to get a great final product when you go with the Xbox preview program and you buy the game outright super early or whatever. But if you're interested in paying full price for a game and maybe playing it early, you want a co-op game that looks like it could be interesting, I'm probably going to pass on it. I doubt I'm going to be buying this game, just saying. I'm already so busy with so many other great releases, I doubt I'm going to be buying a unfinished co-op game. Okay. Now, there was a big announcement that Obsidian is working on a new franchise that's going to be a medieval-style RPG. Some people immediately started saying it looks like a combination of like Skyrim with more fantasy-style stuff, with magic and stuff, and they're calling it Avowed. No information about it, no release date, nothing, just basically just shows a tiny bit of it and saying that they're making it. Okay. There's a game called As Dusk Falls. And I guess what it is a narrative-based game that's not even like, it doesn't even look like there's 3D graphics in it. It looks like it's all hand-drawn artwork. It kind of looks like Life is Strange with hand-drawn artwork. I guess there's something about a heist, there's a couple of kids who hold up like a convenience store, and it leads to something happening that's not explained, and years later the people get back together, and that's all you really know about it. It doesn't really explain anything whatsoever. So, okay, As Dusk Falls, no release date, don't know anything about it, besides it's a narrative-based game. Okay. Hellblade 2. We were all hoping to get a lot of information about that because we know Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, was a sleeper hit, came out of nowhere, ended up being one of the best games about 2 years ago. And then Microsoft bought the studio so that they could make a great sequel under their wing. So we're expecting, wow, this is going to be great. We're going to get all this information about Hellblade 2. Well, we found out that it's set in Ireland, and they're releasing a development diary about the game, and their research into, excuse me, not Ireland, Iceland. I said the wrong thing. It's Iceland. And they did a development diary on Iceland showing the countryside that they're going to be using as the basis of the game. And that's on YouTube right now. And that's it. We get absolutely no information whatsoever about the game. No gameplay, no visuals, no release date. We're making the game and it's set in Iceland. You can watch the dev diary now. And that's it. That was a disappointment for me because that was one of the big ones I was expecting information on. And we got absolutely zero. Zero. I don't care if it's set on the moon. I want to hear about the game. I don't want to hear about the fucking development diaries of the people. One running theme I have to say these last few years. I appreciate the hard work that game developers put into making games. I don't need to know about the game developers' personal experiences, their lives, their families, their pets, the story of how they made the game. Maybe some people are interested in that. I just want to know about the fucking game. If you give me no information about the game but the personal dev diary of the devs, you've done the opposite of what I'm watching this for. Tell me about the fucking game. And then, if the game's good and appeals to me, I'll care about your dev diary. But they seem to be doing the complete opposite these days. It's all about the touchy-feels. I don't care about the touchy-feels. Give me the gamey games. Okay. Sorry to go on a little tangent there. All right, up next, Double Fine. So, you know, this one's going to be a nice golden turd. Tim Schafer at it again. Psychonauts 2. And they show footage of something that happened in January 2019 where they got Jack Black to sing the theme song of Psychonauts 2. They actually do show gameplay of Psychonauts 2. It kind of looks like an action platformer with psychedelic colors and some zany stuff to it, much like the first game was. Does it look 2020? No. It looks like it's a game from the mid-2000s. No release date, no information whatsoever, just a little bit of gameplay and Jack Black singing the theme song. And since Tim Schafer and Double Fine are at the helm, we can expect this game to probably come out around 2032, because that's about the development schedule they work on when making games. You guys know my history with Tim Schafer, how I really like his games from the past, but as soon as basically we went to this whole crowd-funded nature and not having any set deadlines, this guy cannot finish a game to save his life. This guy does not deliver on his promises. And the fact that he's been working on Psychonauts 2 for like 5 years now, and all he showed us today was a little bit of gameplay, again with no promises of the game, does not make me very excited whatsoever for the release of this. I'm just being honest. Alright? I'm just being honest. I'm not excited about it. Other people may feel otherwise. That's okay, especially if you're a fan of Psychonauts and you're so happy that it's finally getting a sequel. But, like, I fully expect this game will come out way delayed, and when it finally comes out, the first half will be great and the second half will be shit, just because you rushed to finish the game. Alright, let's continue. Destiny 2! Oh, wow! Destiny 2! Well, don't worry. It's not a giant segment. It's not a ton about Destiny 2. Basically, what they said is, Destiny 2 will be available on Xbox Series X under Game Pass. So if you don't have the game yet, you can get it for free if you have a Game Pass. You don't have to buy the game. There will be a new 4K resolution version on the Xbox Series X. So if you've liked the game and you want to play a really cool-looking version, you'll get that on the Xbox Series X. And there's an expansion coming out for the game on November 10th called Beyond Light. There you go. I asked in my stream chat at this time, I said, hey, you know, what do you guys think about Destiny 2 now? Because it's been a long time since I played it. You know, the company Bungie has now left Activision and gone off and done their own thing. And basically, I got two opinions. One side was the game's a lot better now. They're not under the confines of what Activision wanted them to do, so they're able to do whatever they want to do with the game. There's been a lot of tweaks and things that have been done that make the game a lot better. And other people were like, it's exactly the same fucking game. There's no reason to ever play it again. So, take that as you will. Okay. Then they show a game that looks like it's set in Chernobyl. For those who don't know, Chernobyl, the spot of a nuclear disaster over in Russia. And basically nuclear fallout destroyed an area and, basically fucked up a lot of people. And it's basically been a lot of urban legends about weird shit happens at Chernobyl. So there was a game made years ago called Stalker that was supposed to be like, oh, here's what happened in Chernobyl. Now there's mutants and all kinds of weird shit. Oh, excuse me, not Russia, Ukraine. My bad. I completely said the wrong thing. It's definitely in the Ukraine, not Russia, right? So, anyway, Stalker 1 is a what-if scenario. What if the Chernobyl disaster created hideous mutants in an apocalyptic setting? It's a really weird game. I played it once for a very short period of time, and the game is pretty janky and wonky. I can understand why people like it. At the same time, it's pretty frustrating to play. The controls are pretty tough. So anyway, Stalker 2. Huh? I don't think anyone saw that coming. Stalker 2? There's actually a sequel to Stalker that's being made, whoa. I think that kind of blew a lot of people away. And by the way, what I should mention now, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, the next 7 games I'm going to talk about are basically console launch exclusives. What does that mean? Does that mean it's a console exclusive? No. It means that during some kind of a predetermined launch window of time, these games will exclusively be only on the Xbox consoles, not on the PlayStation consoles or the Switch. And then once that time frame window expires, then they will be ported to those other consoles. So, Stalker 2 was the first game that they announced will be on an Xbox console before any other console. Alright, now of course they showed no gameplay. It was just a preview. They show some bunkers. They show, oh my god, it's an apocalyptic area, and that's it. I think some people were just blown away that they're actually making a sequel to Stalker this late, because it was a long time ago when that game was made, right? They're actually making a new Warhammer game. It's called Warhammer 40k Darktide, and it's about a group, like a squad of 4 people going underground with futuristic technology, because Warhammer is supposed to be futuristic but also medieval. Weird as that sounds, it is. And they're fighting a bunch of monsters and mutations and zombie-like creatures underground. And from what I'm supposed to understand, this game is supposed to be like a semi-sequel to Vermintide. Vermintide was a Warhammer 40k game where it was like Left 4 Dead, 4-player co-op, but you were fighting like waves of orcs and waves of things. This time you're fighting mutated monsters like zombies, so it really is kind of like Left 4 Dead in the Warhammer universe, okay? Now, 2021 is all they said. We don't know when that's coming out, but 2021. It's funny to me because it seems like there will be a bunch of games coming out in the next couple of years that are going to play like Left 4 Dead. We got this one. We've also got the game from Turtle Rock Studios, the original makers of Left 4 Dead, and I forget what is that called. It's like Back for Blood or something like that. So it's weird how we have these life cycles of games, and it seems like we're actually going to have a return back to that 4-player first-person survival style game, and we're going to have like 2 or 3 games that all play like that in the next year, apparently. Okay, continuing on. Tetris Effect. But it's called Connected. A new Tetris Effect game or expansion, not clear. Coming out holiday 2020. All they show is basically a bunch of people playing a game on webcam, and they're all staring at a webcam like this, and then it shows that their heads are in Tetris blocks coming together. My guess is that what they're going to do is they're going to take the gameplay of Tetris Effect, which we all played. It was a free-to-play game, right? And they're going to have a webcam involvement where now you're going to have your face in the game, and you'll be able to communicate, like talk with people through the camera or whatever live during the game. So not only will it be, oh, let's play a game of Tetris, but we can actually talk and have a conversation while we're playing a game of Tetris together. So maybe it's just you and your friends, or it could end up being more than that if you want to actually do the giant scale, was it like 99 players or whatever? I get the feeling it'll be both, okay? Like you do like private games, but you could also do like giant games. This is all speculation, but that's kind of what I would see they would do with that game. Because just the base game, you probably play for a few hours, get bored of it. Especially, like, I won a game of Tetris Effect. I'm like, I never need to play ever again. I've seen everything in this game. So, maybe there'll be something different, okay? Oh, you're right. I got it confused. It's not. Okay, never mind. So, Tetris Effect was not free. I'm thinking of Tetris 99. Oh. Because that's what the vibe I got from this game was I thought that it was going to be like Tetris 99. Maybe not then. All right, maybe it'll be something completely different. If it's Tetris Effect, I never played Tetris Effect. Apparently, that's a paid-for Tetris game. My bad, I got the two completely confused in my head. Yeah, I never played Tetris Effect. So, all right, then I really don't know what it's going to be. Tetris with some kind of a social aspect to it, right? Considering it's called Connected, you would think that it's going to have something to do with social aspect of talking with someone over a webcam. So, okay, anyway, that's coming out holiday, so probably it'll be a launch title. Then there's a game. It looks like a third-person platformer. A character is cleaning up gunk in a futuristic fantasy world, shooting gunk to solve puzzles. It's called The Gunk. That's all I have to say about that. We have an update on a game we already saw something about. It's called The Medium, and it looks like it's going to be a horror game where a person has a psychic connection to two different worlds. And it's not clear if one is like the real world and one is like the astral plane, as they say. Psychics, they say there's some astral disconnected world out there or something like that. But it seems interesting because there's going to be these dual world gameplay. I don't know how it's going to be implemented in the game. It's not clear. During this, they were showing some split screen stuff. It looks interesting. At least it's a unique presence, okay? A unique presence. A unique concept is what I meant to say. And sadly, no information. When is it coming out? Fuck if I know. You know, it looks good, but no information at all about the game. Okay? Then they announced, I think this shocked some people, Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis. They're actually making a console-based Phantasy Star Online game sequel that's a new game in 2021. Now, Phantasy Star Online, my God, wasn't that, I think that was PC, I think it was on PS2 at one point. It's been on, like, tons of consoles. And the fact that this franchise still survives is, like, unprecedented. They're making a new one. Pretty interesting. But will I play it? I have no clue. It's an MMO. You know what happens with me with MMOs, the amount of trolling and stuff. Seems, for those who love these MMOs, it might be a pretty good announcement, right? That's right. You guys are right. It actually originated on the fucking Dreamcast. I forgot about that. That this game originated on the Dreamcast. And here we are in 2020, and they're still making new console versions and stuff of it, right? Pretty wild. Alright, so anyway, Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis, consoles, 2021. And yes, it is a console exclusive on the Xbox Series X first. Then Remedy Entertainment, which is the same game studio that made recently Control last year. They've also made the Max Payne series at one point. They also made Quantum Break and Alan Wake. Are making a first-person shooter. And it's kind of like, okay, that's weird. They never done that before. Will it be good? I don't know. It looks to me like Call of Duty. Like, to a T. This game looks like Call of Duty. It looks like they're going for an epic, narrative-based, Call of Duty-esque first-person shooter campaign. Is that a good or a bad thing? I think it's a good thing. At least we get some more competition in the first-person shooter arena. Call of Duty every single year gets tired, and to have someone at least step up and try to do something to compete with them is a good thing, in my opinion. I don't know how good Remedy's going to do, but the name of the game is called CrossfireX, okay? So I guess we'll see what happens, but again, no release date, nothing. And then they basically, it's over. You're like, what the hell? Everyone's like, it's only been like not even 40 minutes. This thing's over. And then they finally say, we have one more game, and all it shows is basically a little fairy flying around in a fantasy setting, and the same narrator from Fable is basically saying there are stories of fantasy where there's happy endings and blah blah blah, but not every story is a happy ending. And then a frog lashes out its tongue and eats the fairy, and then it says Fable, and that's it. It's not Fable 4, it's not Fable Reimagined, Fable Series X, refabled. It's just Fable. So I guess they're rebranding the series, being that it's been such a long time since we had a mainstream Fable game. I don't think anyone's going to care if they just call it Fable again. So there's a new Fable game. But any gameplay? Nope. Any information? Nope. Just this FMV trailer, basically, or this pre-rendered trailer. That's it. So we know there's a new Fable. Great. We already knew that because it already leaked. And that was it. That was the whole show. About 45 minutes total. Now, before I tell you my overall thoughts, again, I think the major emphasis of the show, and the thing that actually at least puts a positive spin on this show, is if you are an Xbox Game Pass subscriber for $10 a month, you will have access to every single one of these games at launch. You don't have to pay any additional money, $10 at launch. And in fact, looking at some of these games, and I'm looking at, okay, that new Don't Nod game, $10 a month, and I'm going to get to play all the episodes instead of buying each episode individually and nickel and diming me for arguably 20, 30, 40 bucks, right? If you own the Outer Worlds already and you want to get the DLC and not spend extra money on it, and all these games, admittedly, if you are planning on getting the Xbox Series X and you want a lineup of launch titles and you don't want to drop a ton of money, this is actually good news. Like, I'm actually sold on the Game Pass at this point. That's an exceptional value for customers. If you're already dropping however much it's going to be for the console, $400, $500, $600, plus you probably want an extra controller and accessories and shit, you don't want to now drop another $60 per game or more. Some places are apparently going to charge $70 for all these games. If you tell me I can spend $10 a month and I'm going to end up getting 5-6 games within the first 1 to 2 month window of release of a new console, even if admittedly those games can still be played on the original Xbox One, but I could play them on the Xbox Series X with improved graphics or whatever, that's actually not bad. That's actually a really good thing. That's pro-consumer, and I think Microsoft is realizing the days of being able to nickel and dime people are kind of in the past, all right? Now, before I give my independent thoughts on everything we just talked about of each game, one thing that shocked me is that there was zero mention of Xbox Live changes. For those who don't know, Xbox Live Gold just had a giant change behind the scenes that wasn't talked about publicly by Microsoft, but a lot of people got wind of and are wondering what's going to happen. So let me explain. Previously, when you bet Xbox Live Gold, this is the subscription-based service you pay for to play Xbox Live games online. You need Xbox Live Gold to play any Xbox game online. It was $10 a month if you pay it monthly. For 3 months, it's $25, and the yearly subscription was $60. I always was on the $60 one-year subscription. They just discontinued the one-year subscription. Okay? That means if you want to play Xbox games online, you now have to pay $100 a year minimum. That's a $40 increase. That's almost 100% increase in cost for Xbox Live Gold. So I thought for sure during this event they were going to say, we've got a new announcement. We want everyone on Game Pass. You already need Xbox Live Gold. Here's our new exclusive bundle. Discount, $10 a month. You get Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass. Now you get the games and you get the online service together. They didn't announce that at all. And so for me, I was like, well, are you telling me then that I'm going to have to pay $10 a month for the Xbox Live Gold, right? I'm also going to have to pay $10 a month for Game Pass. So that's $20 a month. It's $240 a year. Now it's starting to add up. You see what I mean? Now some people said, someone just said in the stream chat, they have what's called Game Pass Ultimate. That's $15 a month, and that's Xbox Live Gold plus Game Pass. So I think that's what they're going to be pushing people towards, Game Pass Ultimate. But it's so weird to me this was not brought. This would have been the time. We really want you to have Game Pass because you're going to get all these games at launch under Game Pass. Get Game Pass Ultimate for $15 a month. You get everything inclusive. That would have been a great sales pitch. To me, that would have been like, wow, that's value. But they didn't even do it during the show, which kind of baffled me. I thought for sure Phil Spencer was going to be pushing that shit. But there was no push for it at all. I don't know. That's really confusing for me. Okay. So someone actually just broke it down. Darksteel, he says the way that they try to say it is $5 covers all Microsoft PC releases. $5 covers all Microsoft Studios console releases, and then $5 for Xbox Gold, so it's like $15 a month. Now, keep in mind, it's not just that. There's also many games under Game Pass that are covered that are older games that you could still play as well that are backwards compatible. So I think it's a great deal, and honestly, I'm being very honest here, I think what I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to end up getting it. Because for $15 a month, to not have to ever worry about dropping money whenever a new Microsoft game comes out, I can just play it, and I've got my Xbox Live Gold now, so I'm not worried about that anymore, right? Like, that's a great deal. I think I'm going to end up signing up for it. More than likely, admittedly, with this game coming out next month, tell me why, it's the new game from Don't Nod. I don't want to spend $20, $30 on this game to get the episodes. I'm just going to spend $15 a month, you know? Now, I don't necessarily know what else is coming out in the next few months that I'm going to want to play under Microsoft. If I had owned the Outer Worlds on Xbox One, then maybe I would have said, oh, great, I'll get the DLC for free. I don't. I have that on PS4. So that's what I'm going to have to pay extra money for. I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. All right. But to me, this strategy that Microsoft is using is actually a savvy one, a business savvy one. At a time when everyone's money is low, the coronavirus rocked the world this year, right? Get the Xbox Series X, and if you have no money because you're strapped for cash now, pay $15 a month and get all the Microsoft exclusive games as they release. You don't have to drop any extra money. And especially at launch, they're basically saying you're going to get Halo, you're going to get this Tetris effect, you're probably going to get maybe 3-4 other games all within that launch window for $15 a month. That makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense, okay? Now, let's talk about the games individually. Halo Infinite, meh. Is it a game that everyone's going to play on Xbox Series X? Of course it is. It's going to be the one that everyone wants to play at launch. Will it be great? I mean, it's 343. 343 did a terrible job with Halo 4 and 5. So do I have any confidence that Halo 6, which is really what Infinite is, but they want you to forget that it's Halo 6 because 4 and 5 sucked. Do I have any confidence in this game being good? No. It's going to be Halo. It's going to be cookie cutter Halo. It's probably not going to be very interesting. I could be completely wrong here. But I follow history, and history says that these guys weren't great at making the last two. What changed? Nothing, right? But everyone's going to play it, right? Everyone's going to play it. State of Decay 3, I have zero interest in. State of Decay 2 was so bad. Forza Motorsport, I have no interest in. Forza Horizon, I do, because Forza Horizon series, I played 3 and 4 and really liked both games, and I'd love to play Forza Horizon 5, but we have no information about that right now. The next one's going to be a motorsport game, which is more of a sim, which is kind of disappointing for me. I'd rather play Forza Horizon. A new RPG from Rare called Everwild, doesn't look great to me, and we have no information on when it's coming out. Don't Nod's a new game. Tell me why. Sure, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, play it. Drop $30, $40 for it. I don't know about that, but if you have Game Pass, play it. I think I'm going to play it. Re-releasing the Ori series for Xbox Series X at 60 frames, or excuse me, 120 frames. That's a non-announcement. A new Outer Worlds DLC coming out. Great. People who liked Outer Worlds, that's a thumbs up. So that's like the first thumbs up for me of the whole thing. Grounded co-op game. That's a game, Xbox early game preview. Pay full price to play it early. From my getting burned experience with We Happy Few, I don't think that's great, but maybe Obsidian will do better. I don't know. I'm not too interested in co-op games. Avowed, a new medieval RPG from Obsidian. Great. No information about the game. Thumbs down. Way too early to be talking about it. As Dusk Falls, don't even know anything about it. Hellblade 2, zero info given. Psychonauts 2, laughable. I don't care about it. Destiny 2, if you like Destiny 2, great, but that's a non-announcement for anyone who's not already currently playing it. Stalker 2, I'm sure some people are excited for. You know, those in that niche audience who played it on PC, but console gamers, mainstream, are probably not going to care. Tetris Effect Connected, I mean, some people who love Tetris, and again, if you have Game Pass, you'll play it, but not excited for it. The Gunk, looks like a bunch of gunk. The Medium, actually, out of all the games in this presentation, was the most interesting one for me. Zero information about it. No information about when it's coming out. Phantasy Star Online 2, probably a non-announcement for me, but for those of you who like MMOs, maybe a good announcement. CrossfireX actually looks good to me. An interesting competitor to the Call of Duty franchise, but no information on when it's coming out. And Fable, no information. So it's like, no information, no information, no information. All they did was say some games are coming out, right? And Halo, and the new Don't Nod game. And it's kind of like, what kind of a fluff presentation was this? You know? Now, admittedly, the Sony presentation last month wasn't great either. And a lot of the games that they announced during that Sony presentation ended up, we found out they were cross-platform anyway. But I don't know if either Sony or Microsoft have done a great job of selling me on these new consoles at all. Like, you got Halo on the one side, and you've got, like, Spider-Man Miles Morales expansion on the other side. And it's like, so what exactly will I be playing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X after 2 days? I don't know. I think we've got yet another example of a console launch generation where we don't have anything to play. Again, they did it. They're doing it again. They don't learn from the past. At least, in the case of Microsoft, with the Game Pass, you're guaranteed to get content for the Series X without dropping a lot of money. But will the content be good? I couldn't tell you from this presentation. There was so little information actually presented, very little gameplay shown. It was a fluff show. It was 40 minutes of fluff that had no substance, essentially. Besides Halo, pretty much no substance whatsoever to this show. All right. Last month, the Sony show got you excited in some ways, but then after the show ended, you found out a lot of the stuff on that show was a bait and switch. You know, Miles Morales is not a full game. It's just a standalone expansion. And it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, for me, people are still asking me, Phil, which console are you going to get at launch? Which is your choice? I have no effing idea. I really don't know yet. It seems to me like there's no real definitive reason to buy either console. I'm sure the Miles Morales standalone expansion will be all right, but it's probably going to be the same as the Spider-Man game. I'm sure Halo Infinite will be okay, but it's probably just going to be more Halo. So why do I even need one of these next-gen consoles right now? They have not done any work to convince me to buy a console at launch. And that's not good. That's not good. You need to give me a reason why I need the new console. They haven't pushed a single... Either side, I think both Sony and Microsoft, neither side have pushed a good reason to buy the console come November. At least from what we've seen so far. Maybe both Sony and this event were just kind of an icing on the cake, and maybe we're going to get a big plethora of more information, but I don't know. At this point, I don't know what they're waiting for. I also don't know what they're waiting for when it comes to console prices and release dates. Like, they got to get that shit out of there. They got to tell you, okay, you can pre-order now. Here's the price. Here's the versions. Here's the day. If they don't do this soon, it's going to be like the biggest rush ever. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're trying to create so much artificial demand by literally making you wait till the last minute. So everyone will be rushing to try to pre-order this thing. Maybe that's actually what they're doing. Because outside of that, I can't think of a logical reason why they would wait this damn long to not tell you, here's the price of our console, here's the versions. What is going on here? Previous years, you could pre-order like 6 months in advance. So I don't know what's happening. All right, let's get to shout-outs, and then we're going to adjourn. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. Okay? All right. So, Akron TBK resubscribed for 10 months. Thank you, Akron. Pieter Presses resub for 8 months and said, you know, stuff's been tough the last few days, but don't let the haters get to you, man. Hope you're having some dope pizza tonight. Pizza? I'm not having pizza tonight. I don't know why you said that. But anyway, Pragmatic Tactics resubscribed for 7 months. Says, have you ever considered making your Twitter private? And I heard about nonsense that happened with you and Twitch. I thought I'd say you still got my support. Well, if I make my Twitter private, then I can't talk to you guys or post up schedule or anything. So probably not a good idea. I don't know what the benefit of making my Twitter private would be. I don't even know about that. That dude Roz subscribed to the channel. Thank you, that dude. RPG fan did 100-bit cheer. He says $1 a month. UFA Polo subscribed to the channel. Thank you, UFA Polo. Bad username 323 did 100-bit cheer. Thank you, bad username. Gorilla X Pimp cheered. He says, "You think Xbox games are even good? When will we be getting a new Halo stream from you? Thanks for reviewing this, because I wouldn't even click on anything Xbox anyway." Excuse me. Obviously, if I can get an Xbox Series X at launch, which is very uncertain right now, I'll be playing Halo Infinite, you know? Why not get Game Pass and play it? I mean, I'm not going to drop $60 to own it, but I'll get Game Pass, you know, and I'll play it at launch, and we'll see how it is, you know? Yeah. That's the next time you'll see Halo, hopefully at the launch of Xbox Series X, if I can get the console. All right? I feel a burp coming. Excuse me. Resuvius, resubscribed for 4 months at tier 2. Thank you for the tier 2 sub and the extra support to Resuvius. He says, I haven't been on for a while. How you doing? Doing good. It's going to be a full fun day of gaming today, so I'm excited for that. PW Dubs tipped $1. He says, I don't know if it was a mistake. One of your mods banned me for no reason. Oh, PW Dubs. Well, I'm sorry to hear this. I guess we'll just have to look into it later. I'm a little busy right now. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little occupied. Can't really be looking into why you got banned for the 48 millionth time at this point. Resuvius now did a 500-bit cheer to become the top cheerer of the day. Thank you, Resuvius. Let's get you on the leaderboard. You gotta see how to spell your name. Resuvius. There we go. Resuvius. Okay. Gerard Crow cheer. He says, Jack Black isn't singing the theme song of Psychonauts 2. Well, he is. They showed him doing it on the show, so you're wrong. He's playing a character in it whose mental world is like a big rock concert. Did you even pay attention to the trailer? I did. I absolutely did, and they didn't explain that very well. But he did sing the theme song to the game, which is exactly what he was doing. Okay, so the game takes place in the head of a character who has a rock concert in his set. All right. Light Lamp, subscribed for 25 months. Thank you, Light Lamp, for over 2 years of support. I appreciate that. Gerard Crow cheered. He said, Phantasy Star Online 2 came out in 2012. New Genesis is an expansion that will overhaul the game. It will overhaul the game with a new engine and new graphics. That's good to know. I mean, I knew it was already out. I just didn't know what this was going to be for Xbox Series X because they didn't say it in the show. But it was obvious it was coming to the platform, and that New Genesis was going to be... I mean, New Genesis, a new start. Sounds like they're rebooting it. Calinks resubscribed for 18 months. He said, if you haven't upgraded to Ultimate already for $1, you can do so and add your remaining Live and Game Pass subs together. See, I think I want to do this because I don't want to... I think they almost just recently charged me for Xbox Game Pass. I want to say it was within the last 2 months. I actually got charged for... Excuse me, not Xbox Game Pass. For, what do you call it? Xbox Live Gold. I'm almost positive that they charged me for Xbox Live Gold in the last, 2 months. And it was $60. So, but that's going to be the last time they're going to be able to do that. And that's the one I signed up for. So I'm assuming next year it's going to expire. But what I would want to do, definitely, for this Don't Nod game, I don't want to pay 20, 30, 40 bucks for it. So I would rather do the Game Pass thing for 10, 15 bucks or whatever it is. So I got to look into trying to figure this out, I guess. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I'll have to try to figure it out. Eternal Napalm resubscribed for 30 months in a row. He says, my genuine belief is that Kena Bridge of Spirits will be a smash hit this fall. N64 era Zelda style with charm. Mark my words, it'll be a sleeper hit. Okay, that was when we saw it during the Sony event. Thank you for the resub. DJ CTE cheers. Says, I'm going to invest in a gaming PC and wait till the PS5 Pro comes out. That may be the way to go about this. Shui cheers. Said, the Switch had some good games at launch. Even that's debatable. You know, the best games for the Switch at launch were games that were also on the Wii U, and a game like Breath of the Wild ran better on the Wii U than on the Switch. Just saying. Captain Charisma took me $1.30. He says, I think that the COVID-19 may have pushed a lot of games back. At least this gen, Microsoft is doing a lot more with the exclusives. Well, right, and that's because they bought all the studios, right? Like, most of the games they showed during this event are studios they literally bought up so that they could guarantee they would have games that will be at least timed exclusives on the Xbox Series X, right? Gerard Crow cheered and said, why does every new game need to be huge, incredible, groundbreaking? What's wrong with just being more Spider-Man? It's more of the same. You're going to charge me $500 to play more of the same. Do you see my point? I could just keep my current console and play more of the same. Why do I need to buy the PS5 to play the Miles Morales expansion? Why do I need to buy the Xbox Series X to play more of the same? Just saying. Jad F tipped me $5. That's the biggest tip of the day. He said, Microsoft's plan is the following. Spend $15 for a package of Game Pass. That's PC, Xbox, Xbox Gold, and xCloud, which is also going to be included. Then you can stream your games from the cloud to your phone, for example. The idea is to spend money on PC or Xbox. Right. Spend money either on your PC to upgrade it or to buy the Xbox console itself. Gotcha. Thank you for the tip. Biggest tip of the day. Makes sense. Tarantula, excuse me, oops, I skipped a tip. Carlton Jr. tipped me $1. He says, I felt like both events for Sony and Microsoft are underwhelming. At least Microsoft didn't go out without a fight this time. They showed a ton of games, even though they weren't all AAA games. I'm interested in Avowed. It looks like Skyrim. That's exactly what everyone said. It's Skyrim. A new Skyrim. And since, Bethesda shat the bed and hasn't put out a good game in years, it seems like Obsidian is basically doing Bethesda's job for them, only better. Just saying. Tarantula MS 2018 to me $2 says, I'm definitely getting a PS5 first. I got an Xbox One X 2 years ago, and I have a day one PS4. My Sony console definitely needs an upgrade. Haha. All right, thank you for the $2 tip there, Tarantula. Okay. Romy Road at 100-bit cheer. It says, excuse me, if Microsoft bought WB Games, it would be nice to have Batman on Xbox and Spider-Man on PS5. So you have Marvel on one console and DC on the other. Could be an interesting premise. We don't know if that's going to happen, though. There's rumors. Callings Cheer, he says, if you have, let's say, 11 months of live right now, if you upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate for $1, you get 11 plus 1 month of Ultimate. You won't pay $15 a month until next year. Look into it. It's a big deal. I mean, that sounds good to me, because I'm almost positive that I just resubscribed to Gold. I wonder how you do it, though. Like, would I have to log in at Xbox.com or XboxLive.com under my account that has the Xbox Gold, and is there an option to do it in there? Because I think I want to do it. I think I want to do it to get the Don't Nod game for sure, Okay. So anyway, the Xbox Game Showcase event. Did it blow me away? Hell no. In fact, I would say it was very underwhelming. But the one thing that kind of at least propped it up for me is that Microsoft is not being unrealistic and expecting that you're going to go pay $30 to $60 for these games. They're saying, go on our subscription service, you'll just get all these games. And therefore, it's not like you're dropping an exorbitant amount of money for games that are kind of underwhelming. Not to say that all these games will be underwhelming, but they didn't really do a great job of showing me why these games would be must-plays at all. And a lot of these games, in fact, the majority of this stuff had no concrete information whatsoever. It was more just, it exists. And that was it. At this point, I don't feel that either Sony or Microsoft have done a great job of making me feel like I want their consoles, nor have I've been convinced either way to buy one or the other. Then again, we don't have pricing information or anything, so I don't know. But to me, it's kind of like, I'm not super excited. Neither of these events, I feel, did the job that these companies wanted them to do for me. And that's not a good thing. Right? I don't think they did a terrible job. I just think, again, we've got a situation where there's another console generation coming up. I don't know what the hell I'm going to be playing on these new consoles after a couple days. So, the Real Swifty has subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Real Swifty, for the sub. Okay, that's it for the Xbox Games Showcase recap and reactions stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if there are any other big things coming up in the next couple of months, I'll definitely talk about them. In fact, what I would think is that there's probably going to be an event for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox console pricing reveals and dates. And at that time, maybe I'll do another video like this to compare the two and let you know which one I think is the better one at this point. But for now, there's not much I can do about that. And it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you later. Peace out.